Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results and other news going around the world in the wrestling business. Well, of course, happy birthday goes to Xavier Woods, aka real name Austin Watson, turned 29 years old. He was born September 4th, 1986, worked as Consequences Creed in TNA and also on the indie scene, Austin Creed. Legendary promoter Jerry Jarrett turned 73 years old. He was also born September 4th. But in 1942, Jarrett promoted Memphis Wrestling and also co-founded TNA Wrestling. It was great to hear Jeff Jarrett state in his TNA Hall of Fame induction speech that he and his father reconciled recently. Awesome Kong, real name, Kia Stevens, turned 38. She was born September 4th, 1977. Kong worked briefly in WWE as Karma. Former WWE Divas champion Molly Holly turned 39 years old, while former WWE ECW talent Colin Delaney turned 29. Eva Marie and Rosa Mendez were backstage at Raw in Baltimore, likely for Total Divas filming. Eva has been working in NXT, and Rosa is out of action due to her pregnancy, but WWE is pushing that. Tonight's Raw from Baltimore is sponsored by Payday Candy Bar. Charlotte was not the woman involved in the domestic incident this past weekend that saw TNA star Bram get arrested due to domestic assault by strangulation and false imprisonment. Noted the woman involved was Bram's girlfriend named Ashley Allen. It was reported yesterday that Bram quietly split a few months back, but they are still legally married. They have a hearing scheduled for September 10th in Florida, which will be the final hearing for the dissolution of their marriage. Paige and Alicia Fox visited Chupano's Prime Steakhouse on Sunday. It's a seafood and pasta in Baltimore Sunday night. The waiter informed TMZ that the Divas had a couple of drinks when one of their regular barflies entered the joint and began harassing Paige and Fox by taking pictures and videos. Paige and Alicia apparently didn't like it, and all hell broke loose as drinks started flying from both corners of the bar. TMZ noted that it was mostly margaritas. Staff and the restaurant had to jump in and be the referees to stop the fight. Both the lady and the WWE Divas were kicked out of the restaurant. There were rumblings within TNA last week about more employees being paid late, but apparently the company has been catching up some of those people up during the weekend. These delays were blamed on the TNA legal department and the payroll department moving from Texas to Nashville. Both departments were previously housed with TNA parent company Panda Energy in Texas, but they are now moving to Nashville with the rest of the TNA offices. Apparently, payroll was just moved from Nashville to Texas earlier this year, and it's already moving back. This could be a sign that Panda is pushing TNA away, or that TNA is moving away from Panda on their own. Lana gave Summer Rae a black eye at last week's SmackDown tapings in Miami. I'll post a photo. I'll try and get it up here. Summer posted it on her Twitter account as WWE announced that Lana also suffered an injury while working out in the ring in Fairfax, Virginia over the weekend at a live event show on Friday or Saturday. During a training session on Sunday afternoon, Lana had sustained an injury in the ring. Scott Aman from the doctors of WWE and the website, we attended to her and noticed that she had a deformity of her wrist. And I was also trying to post a photo of her arm in a sling. And he also said, we obtained x-rays which showed a callus fracture, and we put her in a splint. Most of these callus fractures do better surgically than non-surgically, especially in younger patients. Most likely, this will require an operation, which will take her out of action or active competition for approximately 4 months. And you can read more at WWE.com. This explains why Lana was not in Ziggler's corner at some of the live events, such as Sunday night. So much for the mixed tag match between Lana and Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev and Summer Rae anytime soon, especially during the pay-per-view next weekend, being the 17th, 18th weekend. Noted also before that WWE changed plans and was bringing Sting into Raw from Baltimore, with this change coming in another change, as they decided to push Kane's return back, as he will not be appearing this week for Raw, according to PW Insider. It's worth noting that WWE Tough Enough finalist Amanda is also in Baltimore for tonight's Raw, adding to the speculation that WWE is ready for her and working with her to join the roster. Mika Rotunda, the sister of Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas, recently tried out for the company. She actually tried out for a ring announcer role, not an in-ring role. And my prediction, she could be the Sister Abigail character coming in. Or it could be another star that they possibly be bringing in. As I read on one of the dirt sheets, or actually on Twitter, a guy commented that her coming in for NXT, Mia is her name, could be the character for Bray Wyatt's Sister Abigail. Also, regarding top indie stars expected to sign with WWE and begin at the WWE Performance Center this fall, it was speculated that Tommaso Ciampa could be one of those new talents, as he worked a match with Johnny Gargano at the August 13th NXT TV tapings against Tyler Breeze and Solomon Crowe. One that will apparently air on TV in a few weeks in the Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Tournament. I was told that Ciampa may have messed up his potential deal, as there were apparently issues with him at his WWE tryout. Ciampa reportedly worked a match with Breeze and tried to get all of his important spots in, then complained after the match about Breeze stiffing him. This rubbed people in NXT the wrong way. I don't know if the match he complained about was the tag match mentioned above, but it sounds like it was. This was referred to as Ciampa's tryout match, so it may have been Gargano's tryout match as well. This isn't saying Ciampa won't be signed, but a source very close to the situation believes he may have hurt his chances at signing a WWE deal. WWE Hall of Famer Dory Funk Jr. has two students who received WWE tryouts last week, Christian Bowley and Gabrielle Zimmerly, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter. WWE has announced Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and a partner of their choosing versus Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Braun Strowman in a six-man tag match for Night of Champions pay-per-view. And you can go to WWE for more details on that. WWE.com. Sting was a rumored partner for Reigns and Ambrose for SummerSlam, but due to Monday night and last week's, that may not happen, as it's doubtful it would happen since they are given that Sting is challenging Seth Rollins at the same event. Perhaps Eric Rowan is ready to return. Former NXT diva Zara Schreiber, who is also the real-life girlfriend of Seth Rollins, issued the following statement regarding her controversial release from WWE last week. Let me start off this by saying how grateful I am and how fortunate I feel to have had my time with WWE. It truly was a dream job. Last week, WWE made a decision to release me from my contract due to posts I made on social media years ago, long before I was ever employed by them. I understand why the decision was made, but it broke my heart and my spirit. I don't want my mistakes to reflect on WWE or how incredible they are as a company. The responsibility is my own. Now, I want to take the time to apologize to everyone who was offended by my post. I am sorry. I would like to make it very clear I am in no way, shape, or form an anti-Semite. nor do I condone anti-Semitism. If one were to have looked deeper into my post, one would have noticed that also in the photo was Marlene Dietrich. Marlene was a Polish actress who opposed Nazism and fought for the oppressed during World War II. To me, the photos and relics were nothing more than a story. I now see it was insensitive of me and my poor taste, which is why I had attempted to delete them long ago. On an aside, a family member of mine took part in the White Rose movement, Germans trying to end Nazi domination, which is where my interest in the Holocaust actually stemmed from. Also documented deeper on my Instagram from years ago are photos of me at Dachau concentration camp in Germany. I noted there how disturbed I was by the entire place. Unfortunately, social media rarely notices positivity and can be an evil place where opinion is easily manipulated to fit the circumstance. I take full accountability for the things I did post, but those out there who are creating Twitter exchanges that never happened or have manufactured other conversations that never took place really need to check themselves and really realize how much harm they are actually doing. Everything I've worked for and dreamt of is gone, and in an instant, I lost it all. But I can't let this define my life. I know who I am as a person. I'm as human as anyone else. I've made mistakes like we all do. I hope those I've offended can forgive me. All I can do now is learn and move on forward, trying to do better every day. Charlotte announced on tonight's Raw that the Authority has granted her petition, and she will now get her title shot against WWE Divas champion Nikki Bella on next week's Raw instead of at the Night of Champions pay-per-view. But don't expect her to win because of the John Cena stipulation that he wanted Brie to continue to be champion. Nikki noted on tonight's Raw that she will be having a special celebration on next week's Raw, as she will be breaking AJ Lee's record then. If she can win the match against Charlotte, that is. It is possible that they do a finish on Raw to where the match still happens at the pay-per-view. As WWE take the following matches for Baltimore for superstars: Neville versus Bo Dallas, Stardust versus Swagger. Xavier Woods joined Rich Brennan on commentary for Superstars episode. And this is a spoiler. Match number 1. Neville defeated Bo Dallas with a Red Arrow, and Stardust defeated Jack Swagger. Primetime Players versus WWE Tag Team Champions, The New Day, will take place on next Monday's Raw. The winner of that match will defend against the Dudley Boys at the Night of Champions pay-per-view. And what happened on Raw? Labor Day edition of Raw kicked off with Seth Rollins as the World Heavyweight Champion and U.S. Champion coming down to the ring as Lillian Garcia makes the introduction. Michael Coleslaw welcomes us as he's joined by Byron Saxton and JBL. Rollins declares that he's special, not regular special, like really mega special, once in a lifetime special. Fans booing some more. Rollins goes on and brags about holding both titles at once. Rollins talks about his statue and a "We Want Sting" chant breaks out. Rollins tells Sting to be careful what he wishes for because he has the opportunity of a lifetime to validate his entire career and cement his legacy. But on the flip side, Rollins says he has a chance to crush Sting's legacy, and that's what he is going to do. Rollins brings up the match against John Cena next, and then a boring chant starts. Rollins tells them that he's the champ, so he can go all night long, but the chants don't stop right away. Rollins goes on and says this has been his year, and Night of Champions will be his night. He's going to own Cena and Sting, just like he owns all the fans at the ring. Rollins says if it's the last thing he does, he's going to get his statue back. Rollins says the statue wasn't just stolen from him, it was taken from all the fans. He says, we deserve to see it every week. We hear the crows sound. Sting appears on the big screen, the Titantron. Sting says that the statue belongs right here with him. We see Sting leaning on the statue. Sting agrees Rollins is the man without a statue. Sting says that the statue is here and he's here, so Rollins should come and get it. Sting says he's taking good care of the statue and starts dusting it off. Feather duster. Sting tells Rollins to come and get it before it disappears. Rollins yells that he's not afraid and out comes Sheamus with his Money in the Bank briefcase and a microphone. Sheamus says Rollins looks agitated, but the "you look stupid" chant interrupt him. He asks if Rollins is worried. Rollins says he's not worried about Sting, Cena, or Sheamus, but he has to go rescue his statue. Sheamus says he sounds stupid. Rollins says Sheamus looks stupid as the fans pop. And then the "you look stupid" chants get even louder. Sheamus teases cashing in at Night of Champions and says Rollins might have a third match against him that night. Sheamus raises the briefcase in Rollins' face as his music hits and Seth leaves. Still to come segment, Summer Rae has requested time to apologize to Rusev. Also Paige versus Sasha Banks. Back to commercial. Back from the commercial, and we hear dueling Cena chants out in the ring. Stephanie McMahon is backstage when Rollins walks in, asking if she's seen what happened. She tells Rollins to calm down. Rollins hopes Triple H has a good plan for tonight and asks if he's around. Rollins around and he's talking. And then all of a sudden, Triple H appears. Sheamus will be facing Randy Orton tonight. Triple H says Rollins' focus needs to be on his 2 matches at Night of Champions, so he will compete twice tonight. Triple H says Rollins needs to be ready. First match is champion versus champion against Ryback, and the second one will be Rollins and the New Day versus John Cena and the Primetime Players. Stephanie was going to suggest Rollins go after Sting, but thinks Triple H has a much better plan. Triple H says it gives Rollins a chance to go out and show everyone he's the man tonight. Rollins gets hyped up and walks away. Paige versus Sasha Banks was next. We go to the ring. Out comes Paige with Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Sasha Banks is out next with Tamina Snuka and Naomi. The bell rings and Sasha goes to the ropes as Paige charges her. Paige gets her hands on her knee and tosses Sasha across the ring. Paige with another toss by the hair. Paige is in control and drops Sasha on her face. Paige with a back elbow in the corner. Sasha counters and drops Paige in the corner for a 2 count of herself. And we get a commercial break. Back from the break, Sasha is in control. Paige breaks free and hits the Thesz press and a few strikes. Sasha comes right back with a forearm. Sasha nails a boot and a knee in the corner for a 2 count. Sasha chokes Paige on the ropes. Tamina nails a shot while the referee wasn't looking. 2 count by Sasha. Paige blocks a suplex and rolls Sasha up for a 2 count. Sasha slams her and covers her for a 2 count. Paige gets up and they trade shots in the middle of the ring. Sasha takes Paige up top, but Paige fights her off. Sasha does Paige on her head for a 2 count. Paige fights back and hits a big knee in the corner. Paige with a super kick and then another knee for a 2 count. Sasha then blocks the rampage and goes to the floor. Paige leads out and nails Tamina. They come back in and Sasha ends up rolling Paige up for the win after Naomi and Tamina run in for a distraction. After the match, Team Bad taunted Team PCB from the stage. Still to come segment. Reigns and Ambrose will be in action. Back to commercial. Ascension versus Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Back from the break. The Ascension is out. Next comes Roman and Dean Ambrose from the crowd. Yeah, both of them from the crowd. Connor starts out with Ambrose as they go at it. Ambrose touches the clothesline and knocks Connor down. Connor tries to fight back, but Ambrose knees him and tags in Reigns for some double teaming. Connor takes Reigns in the corner and tags in Victor. They unload on Reigns in the corner. Connor distracts Reigns, allowing Victor to push him out of the ring. Reigns gets back up and drops both of them. Reigns runs the ropes and leaps out onto Connor. Reigns nails a drive-by on Victor. And Reigns with a big overhand slam on Victor and a big clothesline in the corner and hit as the fans count along to 10. Reigns with another Superman punch on Victor. Ambrose then tags in and they hit the Doomsday device on Victor. Connor runs in and Reigns spears him out of the ring. Ambrose then nails Dirty Deeds on Victor for the win. Braun Strowman appeared on the big screen after the match, laughing and removes his black sheep mask. He says it's okay to be afraid. He doesn't blame them. He's a destruction. Bray Wyatt appears and warns them and anyone who might join them. The apocalypse waits at Night of Champions. Luke Harper tells them to run, and then they cut to a commercial. Renee Young backstage with Ryback. With an interview, Ryback talks about being a fighting champion and says Seth Rollins is a weasel who likes to whine and complain. Ryback says Rollins is a thoroughbred in the prime of his career, but tonight the big guy has plans of his own. A meat hook and a shell shock for the win. Fan chant, feed me more, but Kevin Owens walks up, chewing on an apple, and Owens wishes Ryback good luck. Ryback thanks him, but he says he's full of crap. Everybody knows he's full of crap. Owens warns Ryback and walks off. We get a video on Dolph Ziggler, Lana, and Summer Rae saga. Still to come segment, Summer will apologize to Rusev. Ryback versus Seth Rollins. We go to the ring. Out come the Intercontinental Champion Ryback for his non-title match. And back to commercial, back from the break. World Heavyweight and U.S. Champion Seth Rollins was out next. We see Ryback letting a fan hold his title during the match. The bell rings and Rollins goes to the floor to stall. Rollins comes back in and they lock up. Ryback sends him into the corner. Rollins goes back to the floor and gets booed. Rollins comes back in and applies a headlock. Ryback knocks him down with a shoulder. Rollins goes to the floor once again. Rollins comes back in and Ryback works on the arm. Ryback with a quick pin attempt before taking Seth back to the corner. Ryback takes Rollins down by his arm again. Then Rollins comes back and beats Ryback down. Rollins with a big chop. Ryback with a death press. Ryback slams Rollins' head into the mat. Rollins then slides out of a suplex, but Ryback chops him down. Ryback working on the arm some more and whips Rollins across the ring. Ryback in control for another pin attempt. Rollins counters with a jawbreaker and goes to work on Ryback. Rollins slaps Ryback around and gets pressed high in the air for it. Ryback drops Rollins and he rolls to the floor. Rollins ends up launching himself to the ring, from the ring to the floor, but Ryback caught him. And then Rollins sends him face first into the ring post and then the steel steps. Commercial break. Back from the break, Ryback runs into the ring post. Rollins with a neck breaker and a 2 count. Rollins with a headlock. Rollins up springboarding in with a knee, keeping control and tosses Ryback in the corner. Ryback blocks a pedigree, goes for a powerbomb, but Rollins flies out. Rollins with a kick to the ribs. Ryback catches a kick and goes for the powerbomb again. Nailing it for a 2 count. Ryback goes up top, but Rollins meets him. Ryback then headbutts Rollins back to the mat and misses a big splash. Rollins gets a 2 count out of that after he misses the splash. Rollins with a baseball slide. That knocks Ryback down on the floor. The referee starts counting. Ryback comes in, but Rollins knocks him off the apron, and the count restarts. Rollins then dives out and sends Ryback into the barrier. The referee starts counting again. Rollins nails another dive, sending Ryback into the barrier. Fans count with the referee, but Ryback gets up, runs in, and nails a spine buster. Ryback calls for the meat hook and nails it to a big pop for the crowd. And then Rollins slides out of the shell shock and hits an enziguri. We hear the crowd as Sting appears on the big screen. He asks Rollins why he's in the ring. Preoccupied, Sting says he and the statue are still waiting on Rollins. Well, Ryback rolls Rollins up off the distraction for the win. After the match, Rollins throws a fit as Ryback makes his exit. And we go to replay. Sting appears on the big screen again and puts a Sting mask on the statue. Going up and then down, up and then down, up and then down, taking the mask. Still to come segment. 6-man main event. Still to come, Sheamus versus Randy Orton, the rubber match. Back to commercial. Seth Rollins backstage looking for Sting. The New Day appears instead, and they're in a good mood. They try to get Rollins hyped for the main event, but he's not in the mood. Edge and Christian appear. Edge asks Rollins if he remembers what he did to him last time that they were in front of each other. Edge says, well, Edge and Christian walk up. Edge says, okay, well, Edge and Christian appear. Okay. Edge says Rollins didn't get the job done then and tells him to try now. Bucking up to Rollins. Rollins says he's got a lot on his plate tonight and then storms off. Xavier Woods breaks out the trombone for Edge and Christian. But Christian has his kazoo. He does New Day Sucks. And Big E breaks that chant up. Dudley Boys show up. Bubba Ray says they just spoke with the authority, and next week on Raw, New Day will defend their titles against the primetime players. Winner of that match will defend against he and Diva on that Night of Champions. Summer Rae makes her way to the ring as we go to commercial. Back from the break, and we get a video package. Summer Rae talking about how the past week has been the worst of her life. She said the man at the center of all this is a victim and does not deserve what he's having to go through. Rusev. She says she owes him an apology, and out he comes. She tells him he's been her lighthouse to guide her through troubled waters, and she owes him so much. He helped her get in shape to his liking and gave her the courage to pose for this month's Iron Man magazine, which we see on the big screen. She says this is all the thanks to Rusev, which is why she feels so terrible. She says Dolph Ziggler has been trying to seduce her for weeks, and she should have known better last week. She says her innocence got the best of her. She talks about seeing Ziggler in the shower and says it was all too much. She was so weak. She says she let Ziggler kiss her and she's so sorry for it. She starts crying and apologizing. She says she may never forgive herself for betraying Rusev as the fans boo. Rusev says she did betray him, but he forgives her. He says this isn't her fault. It's Ziggler's fault for feeding her American lies. Rusev says he's not the victim. Summer is. Rusev says Lana not being here due to a broken wrist is a lie. She's not here because she has a broken heart. Rusev goes on, and out comes Dolph Ziggler with a microphone. Rusev wonders why he's here in his face when Lana's at home in bed. More talk until Ziggler nails a super kick. Ziggler taunts Summer and Rusev from the ring as they made their exit. Then we see Randy Orton talking to Reigns and Ambrose backstage. That could be their tag partner? Well, we'll find out. He walks away and we go to commercial. Randy Orton versus Sheamus was up next. Back from the break, Randy Orton out to a pop, and then Sheamus was out next. They lock up and trade holds to start. Sheamus works on the arm, but Orton turns it around with a headlock. Sheamus rolls to the floor for a breather. Sheamus comes back in and applies a headlock. They trade holds on the mat and lock up. Sheamus ends up going to the floor once again to regroup. This happens again, but this time Sheamus takes a mic and yells at the fans for saying he looks stupid. Orton follows and slams him on the barricade before bringing it back in the ring. Orton with an uppercut in the corner. Orton mounts him with a right hand in the corner. Sheamus turns that into an inverted atomic drop, but Orton comes right back with a drop kick. Sheamus goes back to the floor. Orton comes out. But Sheamus nails the Irish Curse backbreaker. Sheamus goes back in the ring as we go to commercial. Back from the break, Sheamus has Orton in the headlock. Orton fights out, but Sheamus hits the rolling senton. Sheamus asks who looks stupid now, and fans boo him. Sheamus wastes more time to hit some uppercuts. Orton fights out of the corner with an uppercut of his own. Orton with a pair of clotheslines and then a power slam. Orton runs into a boot. Orton with a T-bone suplex for a 2 count. Sheamus goes out to the apron. Orton goes for the second rope, draping DDT, but Sheamus fought it off. Sheamus nails a forearm to the chest on the apron. Orton stopped him at 3. Sheamus sends Orton to the mat, and then climbs up top. Sheamus nails a battering ram for a 2 count. Sheamus yells at the referee before hitting a high knee on Orton. Orton with a power slam out of nowhere for a 2 count. Orton looks to make a comeback, but Sheamus slams him, goes for the clover leaf. Orton makes it to the bottom rope and breaks a hold. Orton dumps Sheamus on the apron and slams him into the turnbuckle a few times. Orton climbs up and nails a superplex for a 2 count. Orton with a second rope draping DDT to a pop from the crowd. Sheamus blocks the RKO and hits white noise for a 2 count. Fans chant, "You look stupid" again. As Sheamus readies for the brogue kick, it's blocked, but so is the RKO. Sheamus rolls him up, but Orton kicks out at 2 and nails the RKO for the win. After the match, we go to replays. As Orton hits the corner to pose before making his exit, the Wyatt family graphic appears, and when the lights come up, they have Orton surrounded at ringside. At the bottom of the rampway, in other words, Luke Harper nails him and hits a super kick. Bray Wyatt unloads on Orton. As Braun Strowman waits in the ring, they roll Orton in, and Braun manhandles him a few times before laying him out. The Wyatts pose over Orton as they go to commercial. Dudley Boys versus Los Matadors was up next. Back from the break, out comes Bubba Ray and Devon. To a great big crowd reaction. Fernando and Diego were out next with El Torito. Fernando started things off with Bubba as they lock up. Bubba slams him first. Tries to slam him, but got countered. Fernando with a drop kick from the back. Diego tagged in and kept control of Bubba until accidentally knocking Fernando off the apron. Torito argued with Diego. Diego dropped Torito on the apron and turns around into a Dudley Death Drop for the win. After the match, Torito gets kicked out of the ring by Fernando. Fernando goes to the floor to keep bullying him around until the Dudley Boys come back. Devon nails him and rolls him in the ring where Bubba has a table. They powerbomb Fernando through the table to a big pop. And that looks like that's the end of the Los Matadors that I was talking about last week. They may be getting a new gimmick. We'll have it. They may come back as their Cologne tag team. Still to come segment. Six-man main event. Back from the break, Rusev versus Dolph Ziggler was announced for Night of Champions. Cesaro versus The Miz was up next. And we go to the ring. Miz was out first. As is Cesaro. Miz stalls to start the match and shows off some, but Cesaro takes him to the mat and manhandles him. Miz fights back, but Cesaro catches him with a backbreaker for a 2 count. Cesaro with a running uppercut in the corner. Miz avoids a third one by rolling to the floor for a breather as the fans boo. Cesaro follows and hits a big uppercut against the barrier with JBL's cowboy hat on. Fans chant for Cesaro as he brings it back in the ring. Not the hat. He brings the action back in the ring. Miz unloads with kicks and then a shoulder thrust in the corner. Miz with a big shot to the ribs. Miz gets more offense with a boot to the face for a 2 count. Cesaro ends up getting knocked from the apron to the floor, and he's selling a rib injury. Miz follows and whips him into the barrier ribs first twice. Big Show comes out and chases Miz around the ring. Miz finally takes off through the crowd as the referee calls for the bell. Winner by countout, Cesaro. After the bell, Miz looks back and laughs at Show from the crowd. Show heads back towards the ramp and stops to nail a knockout punch on Cesaro as the fans boo. Another still to come segment. Team Bella will be here. Commercial. Back from the commercial, out comes Diva's champion, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, and Alicia Fox. Brie and Alicia do their own intro for Nikki. Nikki thanks them and everyone else. She asks if we can feel the excitement in the air as fans boo her some more. She says the Bella army across the world is counting down the hours until she becomes the longest reigning Divas champion. She shows us the Bellatron on the big screen again. Nikki says she's going to throw the most insane party WWE has ever seen next week. She's interrupted by Team PCB. Out comes Charlotte, Becky, and Paige. Charlotte reveals the Authority has granted her petition, and she will get her title shot next week on Raw. A brawl breaks out, and the segment ends with Nikki tapping out to the figure 8. Still to come segment, six-man main event. John Cena and the Primetime Players versus New Day and Seth Rollins. We go to the ring. Out comes Cena. You can't Cena me. Titus O'Neil and Darren Young were out next, followed by WWE Tag Team Champions, the New Day. World Heavyweight Champion and U.S. Champion Seth Rollins was out next, looking rough. Upon Seth's entrance, there's a guy running, popped over the guard rail and basically ran up beside Seth Rollins, and Seth just looked at him and just kept on walking with his title belt. And security was chasing him around the ring, and unknown if they caught him, and unknown what his name was and what have you. All right, Rollins and Cena start things off, but Rollins immediately tags Big E before they lock up. They lock up, and Big E applies a headlock. Big E drops Cena with a shoulder. Woods taunts Cena as they lock up again. Big E with another headlock. Cena looks to make a comeback, but Big E slams him out of midair for a 2 count. Rollins then tags in and stomps away on Cena. Big E tags back in and stomps. Also, Kofi tags in with some more stomping. More quick tags and stomps. The New Day dominates Cena as we go to commercial. Back from the break, Kofi does a crossbody on Cena for a 2 count. Kofi keeps control of Cena grounded as Woods yells at ringside. Kofi hits a SOS for a 2 count. Rollins tags in and comes off the top with a knee to the face for a 2 count. But that one actually looked like it kind of missed, and Cena just sold it. As Young broke the pin, Rollins stopped on Cena in the corner. Big E comes back in and keeps Cena down. Big E catches Cena in a big side slam for a 2 count. Cena moves when Big E goes for the splash and finally gets an opening. Titus tags in and unloads on Big E. Titus nails a big boot. After clearing the apron, Rollins comes in, but Titus tosses him to the apron. Young backdrops Rollins on the apron. Titus with a splash on Big E in the corner. Young comes and hits a gut check from the apron on Woods. Kofi gets sent off the apron to the table. Titus turns around to a belly-to-belly from Big E. Rollins and Cena both have tagged in now. Cena goes for the attitude adjustment. Rollins lands on his feet. Rollins goes for the pedigree, but it's turned into STF. Kofi tags in and springboards onto Cena, but Cena rolls through and hits the attitude adjustment on Kofi for the win. After the match, Cena does the dance with the primetime players before leaving. Rollins comes back in the ring, but we hear the crows. Sting appears on the big screen with a statue. He says Rollins had a rough night and never came to get his statue. Sting calls for the lights, and we see he's outside on a loading dock with a trash truck. He tells the driver to start the engine and tips the statue over into the truck. The statue is crushed. As Sting looks on, Sting catches a ride on the back of the truck like he's a trash truck employee. And as it's riding away, Rollins does a fit in the ring about the statue being his property. Fans sing goodbye to Rollins as he grabs his titles and jumps on top of the announce table. Rollins raises his title but gets booed. Rollins goes back in the ring to raise his titles again. As we see Stone Cold, Edge and Christian preparing for their podcast after Raw, as Raw goes off the air. And what happened after Raw stopped the taping in Baltimore? World Heavyweight Champion and U.S. Champion Seth Rollins traded promos with John Cena. Cena ended the segment by laying Rollins out with an attitude adjustment. And that ends my video for this week's Raw episode. Thanks again. Peace out. See you want to be. If you don't know, just call me, bro.